One of the most important things when it comes to visa applications is the cover letter. Today, I'm going to talk about France visa cover letter, although the format and sample of cover letter remains pretty much same for any visa format. But this cover letter is going to talk about France student visa cover letter. Now, most of the documents, or should I say all of the documents, are usually in black and white, but this cover letter has some tips and tricks to be taken care of. So let's start with the format. The format of any cover letter starts with salutation, and then there is main body, and then in the end, there is signature and details. We'll get back to this later. I have mentioned some key points that you need to mention in your cover letter, and these things are your purpose, your motivation. Purpose and motivation are pretty much same, but motivation is basically related to why this country, why the school, and purpose should be related to your goals. For example, if you want to go for higher education, whether it's a full-time program or a short-time program, what is the purpose behind that motivation? Then you talk about your expenses, your income, your plan to return. This is the most important part, which people underplay more often. And then your documents and itinerary. So let's start. This is going to be a 4 to 5 minutes video. I'm not sure if that takes longer, but let's start to see how a visa cover letter looks like. So we start with salutation part. So salutation would be to the So you'd have to bear with me because this is something that I have to write in order to show you how to write a visa cover letter. So we'll write to the Embassy of France, whether it's New Delhi or any other city, you manage it accordingly. If it is Bangalore, you don't write Embassy of France, you write Consulate of France, but this is what you need to write. You don't need to write the full address, Aurangzeb Road and pin code and everything. This is more than enough. Then you will write something called subject, and in subject you would write cover letter for the student visa application. Okay, now the main body starts. Main body would be something like Dear Embassy, I would like to mention the fact. You can start any way. This is just my way. You can mention, with high regards or with due regards. I want to apply for, the student visa, and this is the format of the visa, but this is just me. So this is random stuff, and this is individual stuff. So that varies from person to person, how you write a cover letter. The main purpose of this video is to not miss the key details, and the key details would be these, and this is just the format. So you can write in your own manner. So let's say if I write, I would like to mention, I'm not going to write a long cover letter because I don't, recommend people to write long cover letter. Embassy people don't you really want to read long 3 or 4 pages cover letters. This is going to be short. Let's see how it goes. I would like to mention that I have received, or just mention, I would like to mention that I want to apply for a student visa in order to study in your country. Now, let's start with purpose. What is the purpose of study? Okay, so you can mention that I am, let's say, I mean, you could be anything. Your profile could be anything. So imagine if we are talking about somebody who has no work experience, comes from engineering background. So I would mention I am an engineering professional and looking to upgrade my skills in management domain, and I want to study a full-time 1-year master's in purchasing and innovation. Now you can write any subject that you are going for, but this is just a random cover letter. So I would like to mention that I want to apply for a student visa in order to study in your country. I am an engineering professional and looking to upgrade my skills in management domain, and I want to study a full-time 1-year master's in purchasing and innovation. While researching for top regions and schools, I narrowed down to Kedge Business School MAI program, which is also known as Masters in Purchasing and Innovation, and ranks #1 worldwide as per Eduniversal. Kedge is also among the top 10 schools in France and top 100 worldwide. Besides, France is one of the top student destinations and has been one of the favorite destinations for Indian students as well in recent times. Now, this is a story that you have to write about your uh, purpose and motivation. In these 5 or 6 lines, I have covered basically both, because if you see here, I have given the background in one line, which is says I am an engineering professional looking for masters in purchasing and innovation. Okay, so this is my past and my future. Now, what makes me choose the school and the country? So you have mentioned that while researching for top regions and schools, I narrowed down to this school and this program. Now, this program is among the top 10, the school is among the top 10, and France is one of the top student destinations. And these are the major reasons why I chose this school, this program, and this country. So here, in a way, your cover letter is 50% complete. Now, the rest of the cover letter would just be formality. So you have to talk about expenses, income, plan to return, documents, and itinerary. So let's start with expenses and income. Now, since I'm a fresher, I don't earn a lot, or let's say earn anything. So I would mention I plan to fund my education with a bank loan for which I have received a loan sanction letter attached hereby. Now, this is something that I have mentioned. You can mention your own family savings, your own fundings, or somebody who's sponsoring you. If you have received a full scholarship, you can also mention that here. If it is a partial scholarship, you can again mention it here. Now, the next point would be plan to return. So here you would mention, first of all, I understand that most of the Indian students would like to work abroad as well to gain international exposure, but there is thin line of difference between gaining international exposure and becoming an immigrant and settling abroad. Because some of the students might want to settle abroad and live abroad, but that should not be your goal. I mean, that might happen in flurry of things. If you're working, let's say 5 years or 6 years or 7 years with a company, that company might recruit you and keep it there for a long time, and in the process you can apply for a PR. I am sure Sundar Pichai didn't want to settle abroad when he completed his BTech and wanted to study in the US. His goal was to study abroad, okay, not to settle in US and become a US citizen. So you don't have to mention it here. You would have to mention that since, or you can just mention, I plan to work in international atmosphere post my graduation, and hence I would be looking for international opportunities globally. And you would mention including my native country, India. So by this, you have mentioned that you're not very sure at the moment because nobody can predict the future. So you mentioned that you would be keen to come back to India as well, but you would also be keen to look for international opportunities in international atmosphere. That could be France. Now here you haven't mentioned France, but you have mentioned international opportunities globally. That means, and that includes France as well. So be a little bit diplomatic, but be honest. Okay, so don't mention that you want to settle abroad, you want to become a French citizen, and that's why you're going. That reduces the chances of your visa. Now, the last 2 points would be documents and itinerary. The documents, of course, you wouldn't attach the documents in this cover letter, so you just mention here are the list of documents attached along with this cover letter. Now, there are 10 or 15 documents mentioned by Campus France checklist in Campus France checklist or VFS checklist. So you don't have to mention Campus France or VFS checklist here. Rather, the checklist that you have received from Campus France and VFS, you would have 10 to 15 documents. Mention all those documents here. Those documents will include your offer letter, uh, your bank loan, your accommodation, your tickets, yeah, your tickets and insurance. And there would be many other documents. So I'm not going to mention all of those documents here because this is not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is only to tell you about how to write a cover letter. So you can just download the checklist from VFS website, or you can contact me, or you can contact the school and just mention the checklist here. Okay, now what is the last thing? Itinerary. Itinerary is basically where do you fly, when do you fly, where do you fly, and when do you plan to come back. Now, you would not know when to come back because you're going for a long stay student visa. So you would mention that I intend to fly on August 26th, 2019 from New Delhi to Paris. After Paris, I would be taking a TGV train to Marseille or Bordeaux. Okay, wherever you're going, don't just mention both of the cities. So just to remove the confusion, I'll just write Marseille. Okay, now your entire cover letter is complete. Of course, you can mention more things if you want. There would be many people who would be suggesting you write this, don't write that. You can of course go ahead and do that, but trust me, this cover letter is more than enough to get you a visa. Cover letter is a very important catalyst, very important tool, but it does not ensure that you get the visa. It does not ensure that you don't get the visa. The real stuff would be the documents that you produce, your offer letter, your funds, your sponsors, your bank loans, your tickets, your insurance, and your accommodation, and everything else. Okay. But this is a very, very important document. So I'm not saying this is the best cover letter ever written in history, but this cover letter includes everything. It includes the purpose, motivation, expenses, income, plan to return, documents, and itinerary. It includes salutation, it includes main body, it includes signature and details. And where are the signature and details? You just mentioned here, yours truly. You can mention anything. Let's write my name. Okay, you would write Prayagraj Tripathi, your phone number, your address, email address, prayagrajtripathi at gmail.com, your address and date of this letter. And if somebody is sponsoring you, sponsors details as well. So sponsors details could be parents or siblings or relatives, not the bank here. Okay, this is it. Your cover letter is complete. Nothing is missing as of now. Of course, there would be another cover letter by people who are sponsoring you, or of course, your friends, your family, your relatives, your parents, and the format would again be pretty much same. Although they just don't have to write this letter in first person, they would have to write this letter in third person. For example, my name is this, my son or my daughter is going for this program, and I am going to help this person for, let's say, 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs of amount. Attached are my income tax returns and bank statements. That's it. Because you would anyways send this cover letter yourself. So then in that case, you would have two cover letters. Okay. So I think this is complete. If you have any questions or any doubts, feel free to comment and feel free to reach out to us. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day and See you abroad.